tonight.
I did tell him earlier. I did tell him, I said, listen, he's like the second son that I don't like. Oh my god, there he is. Hey,
How are you,
Torque, how are you?
Twerk?
Good morning.
Not gonna happen this morning, Poppy.
Oh, look at
Paris
Paris.
Oh my god.
I love Paris in the morning.
Thank you, Tark.
That's a good song. I remember the song from a long time ago.
It's a very good song, yes. How are you this morning?
How you been, Twerk?
Greetings.
I'm okay. Hello, Mr.
Hey there,
Cole.
Cobalt.
Torque, good to see you, man. How are you?
Oh, there's a new. What is
Quiet
this
here
stuff?
tonight, huh?
Hello.
Hello. Motoko Yiko Kusanagi. I had you for
Well,
dinner the
yes,
other
I will.
night
Thank
with a
you.
little rice and.
Hey, Cobalt. Hey, Boomer.
Torque, shalom.
Shalom Aleichem.
Hey, Boomer.
Shalom alaikum.
That's all the Yiddish I know. Everything. That's all the Hebrew I know. I know Yiddish. I don't speak Hebrew.
Yeah. That's been all the Hebrew I know.
More than I know.
Kalu, I got a joke for you. Honey, hear a new joke.
Oh, I've been dying to hear a
Yay.
joke from you for
Yeah.
about 6 months.
Yeah. Me too. Let's hear it.
A guy, all his life, Irving wanted to own a Rolls-Royce. He couldn't afford it. From the time he was a young boy, he saw the car, he fell in love with the car, he wanted a Rolls-Royce. So he worked his whole life, he took 2 jobs, he saved every penny, he put money in the bank, and he worked extra shifts and overtime, and he worked for years and years, and finally he got to the age that he could retire, and he got a lump sum pension, he got benefits, and he finally could afford the Rolls-Royce. He goes to the dealership, he buys the best Rolls-Royce he could buy. He pulls out of the dealership, he drives 3 or 4 blocks, he stops for a red light, and another Rolls-Royce pulls up right next to him. So he looks out the window and he nods and smiles. He says, hello. The other guy says, hello, how are you? He says, I'm terrific. I just bought this Rolls-Royce. I'd never had this car before. He says, well, do you like it? He says, oh, it's wonderful. He says, did you get the keyless entry? He says, sure, I got the key. Did you get the navigation system? Oh, I got the navigation system, and the backup cameras and the self-parking. Did you get the television in the? I got the television in the back and the heated seats. He says, did you get the fold-away bed in the back seat? He said, it comes with a bed in the back seat? He says, sure. The guy, Irving, gets mad. He turns around. He rushes back to the dealership. He goes in. He says, why didn't you tell? You didn't even offer me the bed. What am I, a second-class citizen? I want the bed for the back seat. The dealer says it was an oversight. I'm terribly sorry. We'll install it for you. Just wait a few minutes. Have a cup of coffee. And there'll be no charge. We should have offered it to you, and we didn't. So they install the bed in the back seat, and the guy's happy, and a couple of weeks go by, and he sees the other Rolls-Royce parked. But the engine's running. There's somebody inside. So he pulls up next to it. He goes, hello. The guy doesn't answer. He knocks on the window. Hello. Nobody answers. Hello. Nobody answers. Finally, he knocks on the window. The guy rolls down the window. He says, what do you want? He says, listen, I just wanted to thank you. I met you a couple of weeks ago, and you told me about the bed for the back seat for my Rolls-Royce, and I went back to the dealership, and he installed it, and he didn't even charge me. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have even known about it, so I just wanted to really thank you. The guy says, that's what you got me out of the hot tub for?
Oh, that's cute.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a clean one. You could tell that at work tomorrow. No one will care.
Yes, I know. Not like your ball one.
You are dirty man.
Cool.
No, my favorite is when you go to get the old man goes to get his social
Hey, don't
security.
interrupt him. He's not
What?
going to remember
He
the
was finished.
joke. He's going to start another joke, but he won't remember
Oh,
it.
sorry, I didn't
I'll
hear.
remember. I always remember, Joe. Irving Shapiro has been working in the garment district. He owns a dress manufacturer for 40 years. He finally decides to retire. They throw him a big retirement party because he's going to sell the business and everything else. And they said, Irving, you've been working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, your whole life. He says, what are you going to do once you retire? You're going to be bored. He says, no, I've decided to join the Westchester County Golf Club. They said, you can't join there. They don't take Jews in there. You can't join there. He says, I already have a plan. I thought of that. He says, I'll work something out. I have an idea of how I can get in. They said, okay. So he retires. A few weeks goes by. He calls up the Westchester County Country Club golf course, and he makes an appointment for an interview. So he goes out. He buys a red blazer with a white shirt and khaki pants with boat shoes and a bow tie and an ascot and a captain's hat. And he looks very dapper, and he goes down to the interview, and they bring him inside this office that's all mahogany wood and bookshelves and a beautiful desk. And the guy comes in a suit, and he says, I'm here to interview you. And Irving says, okay. He says, well, I have to ask you a few questions before we could accept you as membership. Sit down, relax. This will only take a few minutes. He says, well, let's start. Let me write some of this down. What's your name? He says, my name is Winston Howell Peterson III. So that's a very nice name. He says, are you married? He said, yes, I am married. I am married to a wonderful woman named Mary. She's a lovely, lovely lady. He said, that's good. What do you do for a living? He says, well, for many years I owned a boutique advertising agency on Park Avenue, which I recently sold to a larger organization for quite a bit of money. So I'm very comfortable at this point. Oh, that's good. He says, do you have any children? He says, well, what does your wife do? He says, well, my wife does a lot of charity work for Catholic charities and for the homeless and other organizations around the city. And, oh, that's terrific. He says, you have any kids? He says, yes, I have two lovely, lovely children named Chip and Buffy, who are matriculating from Harvard and Yale this coming season. He said, oh, you must be very proud. Yes, they are wonderful children. I am quite happy with them, and they're quite proud of what they've accomplished. He says, well, it's terrific. He says, well, and what's your religion? He says, oh, we're Goyim.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
Where do you get all these jokes? Do you, like...
There's a joke book they sell in Brooklyn called Old Jewish
Yeah.
People Jokes.
Do you make them? Like, do you create them? Or?
Sometimes. I only steal from the best.
Yeah. I haven't heard most of his jokes, although I do know that he does act like a guy now.
I got the Japanese joke for Motoko. You like Japanese?
Yes.
I got a joke. A young man goes out with a Japanese. He goes out and gets drunk, and he meets a Japanese prostitute. And he has sex with the prostitute, and he goes home afterwards, and a few days later he wakes up, he goes to take a piss, and he looks down and his dick is all different colors: red, brown, pink, blue, plaid. He says, doesn't know what it is. He finally makes an appointment with the urologist. He goes to the doctor. doctor looks at you, holy shit, your dick's all different colors. He says, when I was in the Army, I saw that when I was stationed over in the Philippines. He says, as a medic, he says, that's going to have to come off. He says, no, Doc, it don't come off. I tried before I left the house. Brillo, Ajax, it don't come off. He says, no, you don't understand. We're going to have to amputate. You're going to cut off my dick? He says, yeah, that's poison. If we don't cut it off, you're going to die. So he says, no, I don't. I'd rather die with it than live without it. And he leaves the doctor's office. He's all depressed. He says, wait, Oriental hooker. He saw it in Philippines. Let me go to an Asian doctor. I'll go to Chinatown and I'll find a doctor. Maybe there's a medicinal cure that Western medicine doesn't have. So he goes. He sees a doctor's sign on the door. He knocks on the door and. Doctor answers, hello, may I help you? He says, yeah, Doc, look. He goes, holy shit, your dick all different color, red, brown, green, blue, pink, black. He said, mine is only yellow. He said, did you see American doctor? He said, yes. He said, what'd he say? He said he was going to amputate. Holy shit, going to cut off your dick? He says, yeah, otherwise he said I was going to die. He says, oh, no need to do that. The guy says, oh, thank God. He says, yeah, 3-4 days, that's going to dry up and fall off itself.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Oh, I love that joke. That was good. That's my type of joke.
Torque, I'd like you to introduce, I don't know if you know, this person over here is Juicy. I let her run the club. Over here is
AFK.
over here is Gauze. He is security, I believe. And Paris is brand new. You'd like her.
He wears the security tag.
Yeah.
No, that was the Chinese. I got the Japanese. Irving owns a grocery store.
That was the Chinese.
I got to tell her the Japanese joke.
Go ahead. Please.
Irving owns the grocery store, and every morning he goes to the market to buy his groceries at the farmer's market from a guy named Yakamura, the wholesale market. And they've been doing business for over 30 years. And every morning, while they're loading the truck with the fruits and the vegetables and everything he needs for the day, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, they stop and Irving has a cup of coffee, and Yakamura, who he buys his groceries from, has a cup of tea, and they talk, and they've become friends through the years. And Yakamura finally says to Irving, Irving, Japanese people, when we make love very beautiful. First we take a bath together, we wash each other, we dry each other with silken towels, we powder each other with scented powder, rub the powder into our skins. Then we go to bed, we hug, we kiss, we caress each other, touch each other, wait for a moment of passion to rise. We stop, we arrive bed, we drink tea, we eat a rice cake to delay moment of passion. Irving says, that's terrific. I'm going to try it tonight with Sadie when I get home. So that night he goes home, he yells out, Sadie. She goes, what do you want? He says, come in here. She goes, where are you? He says, I'm in the toilet. She says, I don't want to see you in the toilet. He says, come here, I got something to show you. He says, nothing you have I haven't seen before. He says, just come in here. She goes, what do you want? He says, why are you carrying the fish? He says, I was making your dinner. He says, put the fish down. She goes, why? He says, I want you to get in the tub with me. She goes, there's no room for you, you fat bastard. He says, just get in the tub. She says, I've been washing myself since I'm 5 years old. I don't need your help. He says, just get in the tub. She says, all right, I'll get in the tub. She gets in the tub. She says, what are you doing? He says, I'm washing you. She says, wash yourself. Where are you sticking your hands, you bastard? He says, she says, now what are you doing? He says, I'm drying you off. She says, you got hands like an elephant. You're rubbing off my skin. You're such a rough bastard. You don't even know your own son. I'm choking. What is this? He says, I'm powdering you. She says, powder your own ass. Then I'll do mine. He says, all right, forget it. Let's go to bed. She goes, this I understand. Hugging, kissing, touching. He yells, stop. She goes, for what? He says, we're going to eat a corned beef sandwich. She says, so, you know something, Irving? He says, what? She says, you fuck, just like Yakamura.
Wow.
I didn't hear all of that. Wow.
Yeah, that was a good one. So, Torque, what have you been up to, man?
About 7 inches, but I'm working on it.
I'm back, sorry.
Come back.
Thank you. Sorry.
I got a problem. I started taking Viagra, and it makes my dick hard, but it doesn't do anything for my testicles. They still hang low. I do.
Ew.
Oh, wow.
When you got a raging hard on and a low scrotum, it looks like my cock is wearing a backpack and with carrying 2 coconuts, and it looks like the shoulder straps are too loose.
Wow.
I scared myself the other night. I went to take a piss in the middle of the night. I was walking down the hallway, and I got a little absent-minded. I was a little verschimmelt. What? And I thought 2 hamsters were chasing me down the hallway.
Oh, dude. Ew.
Oh my god.
Don't give Gauss actually does not need any more ammo
Yeah.
to use.
Oh, no, I love old man jokes. Continue.
Yeah, I know exactly what I do.
What do you think of this, Paris? Look at Paris. She's very pretty.
Yes, sweetie. What am I supposed to look at?
I like the pink.
Did you have a little jerk there?
Paris is
Thank
pink.
you. Yes, I do love pink. I am girly about that. I love pink. Are you enjoying your morning, Torque?
I'm having a wonderful day. I am fine and
Thank
dandy,
you so much.
which is unusual. I am often fine, and I am very rarely dandy, but to be fine and dandy at the same time is very unusual.
It's a good thing, yes. I'm glad you like pink.
Someone gave you a 1 linden tip, the cheap bastard? Well, he must have been Jewish. What the fuck is that? A 1 linden tip?
Thank you.
A guy tells his wife, listen, I lost my job. I'm on unemployment.
Thank
We're
you,
not
Doc.
making the bills. We're going to have to do something drastic. I hate to ask you this, but I think you're going to have to go out and work the streets. Otherwise, we're going to be homeless. She says, whatever I have to do, I'll do. So she goes out. She stays out all night. She comes home the next morning. She's all disheveled and dirty and for Blanchett, she looks terrible. He looks at her. He goes, oh, I feel so bad, but how much did you earn? She said $200.10. He said $200.10. Who gave you the 10 cents? She said they all did.
Aww.
I saw a guy in Times Square standing in the street. I was watching him, and every woman that walked by, young, old, fat, skinny, pretty, ugly, it didn't matter. Every woman, every female that walked by, he said something to her, and she would smack him right across the face and keep walking. And I watched this for 20 minutes. He must have gotten slapped 50, 60 times. I walked up to him. I said, mister, what are you saying to these women that they keep smacking you in the face? He says, every woman that walks by, no matter how old or how young or whatever she looks like, I ask her for a blowjob. I said, holy shit, you must get your face slapped a lot. He says, yeah, but every once in a while.
That's the numbers game. That's actually not a joke.
Hey, Riddler.
Oh, it's a
I'm the security guard here. She don't need nobody else. I know karate.